Welcome to Onslow County Today. I'm your host, Lisa Whitman-Grice, and today we are here at the Onslow County Government Center in this beautiful facility. Today we're going to speak with a wonderful variety of guests, beginning with Emily Baker from the Onslow County Museum. We'll also speak with Aisha Ford with Onslow County Health Department, Jeremy Butler from the Onslow County Vector Control Center. We'll also talk with Jessica Gardner, our newest department head, Director of Cooperative Extension. We'll talk with Kathleen Grasser from the Onslow County Public Library about a very special guest. And finally, we'll take a turn. We're going to be talking with John Bazaret from the Onslow County Human Resources Department. He is going to talk with us about heat safety. We are beginning our 23rd season here of Onslow County Today, and we're so glad that you're here to celebrate with us. Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is Emily Baker with the Onslow County Museum. Emily, welcome back.
Thank you.
When last we visited, we were at the museum talking about the Crossroads exhibit. It's all gone. It was a great hit. But now, something new. What is featured in the Onslow County Museum Changing Gallery right now?
So right now we have our Children's Discovery exhibit, which is all about dinosaurs. So it's called Dino Days.
Now, I've never met a child, or an adult really, who does not love dinosaurs. Tell us a little bit about what they're going to see and why this children's exhibit, especially this year, is so meaningful.
So things that they can see when they go in, as soon as they come around the door, they're going to see this huge T-Rex welcoming them to Dino Days. They're going to see some information about carnivores and herbivores and some of our flyers and swimmers that we would have had. They can also do hands-on interactive play. So we've got a little baby section for those little waddler toddlers, and then we have a little bit bigger, older section for our younger visitors that can do some excavation, some dig. They can dress up like a paleontologist. They can play with a huge magnetic board where they can kind of create their own dinosaur landscape with some magnets. So it's very interactive, hands-on learning.
And tell us a little bit about, so we talked about that you're going to see herbivores and carnivores and flyers and swimmers. Talk about the huge variety of dinosaurs. Just in doing the research as you were planning, long gone are the days when we said Triceratops, T-Rex, pterodactyls.
There's so many. There's so many different types. Even within if we just said carnivores, there are so many different types of dinosaurs that were carnivores. It's overwhelming, the amount of dinosaurs that have been discovered. So we try to give a good basic understanding about, if we just use carnivores as our topic, just a few of them, not all, because there are a lot. So we tried to do it in a way that if you are a young visitor, how can you get this information in the best possible way where I can still understand it and think, oh, that's really kind of cool.
Well, you know, in your time as you were prepping for this exhibit, any surprises? What did you learn new about dinosaurs?
Well, I have the Triceratops here, and one of the things that I learned that was surprising to me is about the frill. Okay. So I would say some of our older knowledge or understanding of it was used as defense, right? It was used as a weapon against predators. But scientists have come to say that the frill is not so much as a defensive weapon, but more as an attractant to other mates. And it's kind of like the birds and peacocks showing off their feathers. And this is a way that they can attract mates to say, ooh, look at me, I'm so pretty.
How about that? You mentioned birds. And we now, in talking about that, we know so much more about the connection between dinos and modern birds. Talk a little bit about what kids are going to learn about what dinosaurs look like.
Yes. So I think if we're consumers of media and watching movies, we think, oh, Jurassic Park. They're all scaly, lizard-like, reptilian creatures. Actually, that's not quite so. One of the things I think that took me by surprise is the pterosaurs. So if you think about like a pterodactyl, we think they are very like reptilian. They have leathery skin, where in fact they actually were more furry. They had fur, small hairs, feathers. What we think about now, birds having feathers. These creatures would have looked like that, which is it's crazy to think about. They are just huge birds, huge birds,
Sort of gliding across the sky. As we said, kids, grown-ups, everybody loves a dinosaur. And we've brought this exhibit to the museum, but it's not just about the exhibit. In August, the museum's going to do some activities and crafts with kiddos as well.
Yeah, so we're going to do Family Fun Fridays. That's every Friday in the month of August. And that is a chance for some of our younger visitors to come to the museum and do some activities and crafts relating to dinosaurs. So some of the things that maybe a little bit smaller in nature, or crafts and coloring and putting together dino kits and whatever it may be, they're going to have the opportunity to do that. And then we welcome them to come into the exhibit as well.
All righty. And then at the end of those Family Fun Days, I understand that our education coordinator, Mary, is planning a Family Fun Day on that last Friday to do something a little different.
I think she's planning on having a dance party with some dinosaurs.
Dino dance party. A dino dance party. Now, if people want to visit the museum, tell us a little bit about the hours, how to see what we're doing on social media or our website, and finally, what admission options there are.
So they can always just type us in, Onslow County Museum, in the search bar, and we are the first link that pops up that takes them directly to our website. So any and all kind of like in-depth answers can be found on our website. They can also find us on social media, on Facebook. We're on Instagram, so either of those options as well. Our hours are Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. And then we're also open on Saturdays from 10 to 4.
Okay.
In terms of admission, so adults is $2 plus sales tax, and children we say are from 3 to 18 is $1 plus sales tax.
Okay.
We are a Blue Star Museum, so we do offer free admission for all active duty service members and their families. That is we actually started Memorial Day and we'll go until Veterans Day.
Very good.
And then we also offer, so many options, we also offer our family summer fun passes.
Excellent.
And that is $15, and it's per household, and you can come and play with dinos for as long as the exhibit is up.
All righty. Now, Dino Days will eventually become extinct.
Yes.
And will go away. And you're planning and currently researching our early 2024 exhibit. You've brought your swimsuit-clad friend here with
Yes.
you. Tell us what's coming up next at the museum and how the public can help you.
So after dinos go away, we're going to do a Fun in the Sun exhibit, and that is going to be about beach life. So when did that kind of shift occur? So we see, especially here with our waterways, it was more industry, right? It was more business. But when does that shift change from business to fun, to pleasure? So that's what this exhibit is going to kind of talk about and tell this story of what did people here do at the beach for fun.
Okay.
And here is one of our swimsuits that we have in the collection at the museum. This is from the 1950s, and this was worn and made by Miss Martha Maddox Mills. And this is just one of a couple others that she had, and that was donated to us at the museum. So any kind of swimsuits, any kind of memorabilia that maybe people have, stories, photographs, t-shirts, records. I mean, think about going to the beach and what was your experience like? We would want to know. We want to be able to tell people stories. So if they're, growing up in the 60s or 70s and they're going to the beach, what did you do? Where did you go? What was the hip and cool fun thing to do then? And
I think that is something we sometimes take for granted, right? We say all the time, I'm going to the beach. 20 minutes away, doesn't take any time at all, and we're so fortunate. And now we want to know what people saved and their own memories.
Yep. That is very true. I do have to point this out because I did bring them and people would want to know.
This is precious.
So we have Miss Martha's here from the 50s, and this is a little kid's swimsuit. It's from the 30s.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's a really good condition as well to be from the 1930s and to be a swimsuit. You think about a little kid in the water and playing around. So we're very fortunate that we have folks that save these things and then want to donate them to us. It's just terrific. So anything really, we're open.
Beach memorabilia, fun in the sun.
Fun in the sun.
Well, we are looking forward to that. It is about 90 degrees out here already today, so the beach sounds really good. Yes. But thank you for bringing these things in. Emily, one more time, let's just give folks the main museum telephone number, and they can call and find out and ask any questions they might have.
So they can call us at 910-324-5008, and they can just say, I would like to talk about, or I have, and we can definitely help them out.
Well, thank you for bringing your dinosaur friends. Thank you for reminding us how lucky we are to live so closely to the beach.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back to Onslow County today, and joining us is our friend Aisha Ford from Onslow County Health Department. Aisha, it's been a minute since we've gotten to visit.
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, yes. It's been a while.
So we're glad you're back.
Thank you for
to
having
talk
me.
with us. And you are here to talk with us about World Breastfeeding Week.
Yes.
And there are a couple of things we want to talk through. One, certainly sort of why you're doing this commemoration, what you have planned for it, but really the importance and the role of the health department and the WIC program in guiding our parents, guiding our nursing mothers, and giving them every resource and information that they could possibly need.
Absolutely.
So the first thing we want to talk about is this year, World Breastfeeding Week has a very important theme. Share that with us and why that is such the focus.
So this year's theme is enabling breastfeeding, making a difference for working parents. So this year's theme is really important because during the pandemic, we kind of lost a little bit of ground. There was a lack of access to prenatal, postnatal care, and as well as breastfeeding support for breastfeeding mothers and their families during the COVID-19 pandemic. There was also an increased risk of unemployment and kind of a loss of their livelihood and how families provide for themselves. So a lot of breastfeeding families were forced to make a choice between breastfeeding and being at work on time and being where they needed to be to, meet those requirements of their job.
We know all of the advantages, but we want to talk about that because those first weeks, days, weeks, months of breastfeeding, you all share all the time the difference that makes
Absolutely.
in the health and well-being of a child. Talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to kind of circle back to why not being able to do that with the challenges that sometimes a workplace can present can be overcome.
Yes. Well, at the core of a healthy community, the foundation is breastfeeding for infants. That is the normal, preferred way to feed infants. There are a host of benefits for the mom and baby, as well as the family. So not being able to breastfeed and get those resources that you need to successfully continue breastfeeding after a mother returns to work is very important, that it can have a big impact on her ability to adequately breastfeed her child and meet her breastfeeding goals.
Well, we talk about that. There are these assumptions, right? It's the most natural thing. Mm-hmm. Millions of years, mothers have been nursing their children. Yeah. But one, it's not always easy, and having that support and knowing, because it can be stressful, it can, it does take time. And also the added stress of you cannot rush a nursing infant.
Yes.
Right? They're on their own
Absolutely.
timeline.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about how you all in the past have been able to guide mothers, and then with the pandemic, there had to be some new ways of doing things.
Yes. So as you mentioned, breastfeeding, that support is vital. During the pandemic, we were unable to have, in the beginning, we were unable to have that face-to-face service. Of course, there were provisions made, but there was something missing in being able to look at that mom and being able to smile at her and say, you're doing a good job. Sometimes that's all it takes to keep a mom going. And also, as you mentioned, breastfeeding is natural, but it's a learned skill. And it takes a team, from her family to, us at the health department, and then within our nutrition services division, there are levels to the support and protection that we give the mom, including our peer counselor program, which is the lifeblood of our breastfeeding program. And unfortunately, they were unable to kind of be that person that mom-to-mom support for that mother during the pandemic. And as I mentioned, just a lot of footing was lost. A lot of ground was lost during the pandemic.
But there's a lot of lessons learned, and,
Yes.
and sort of you all are bringing things back in great capacity,
Yes.
bringing this back. And so that includes the event that you're hosting.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing during World Breastfeeding Week, when it is, and how people can learn more.
So one of the lessons learned, a collaborative partnerships among breastfeeding stakeholders in the community is vital. And again, during the pandemic, we were kind of in our own silos and unable to engage with, our partners in the healthcare community, social services even, workplaces and businesses that are breastfeeding friendly. So this year, the health department is going to celebrate World Breastfeeding Week by hosting a resource and information fair for our community partners in lactation.
Fantastic. Now, you talk about bringing up, because a lot of our healthcare workers were occupied,
Yes.
all thinking about our response
Yeah.
to the pandemic, and now we can kind of come back together. Talk about this idea of that village, that partnership, and how that just ultimately breeds success.
Right. So when we're all providing the same message, there's a continuity of care when that mom delivers, when she's released from the hospital, when she goes in for her postpartum visit. She needs to know who is there for her and who do I contact when. So it's really important that we're communicating and know what each other offers and provides so that we're able to make good, warm referrals for our breastfeeding moms. So on August 4th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., we're going to do a floating kind of health fair to share information with the lactation community about what we offer, what services and support is available at the health department. Just a time where we can engage and collaborate, exchange information, update contacts, and just update our breastfeeding resource list, our referral list, our referral protocols, and we'll also have some guest speakers, refreshments, that's always nice, and just be able to come together, bring our lactation professionals together so we can better support our moms.
Fantastic. Now, if we know someone in the community, if we have, a friend, a neighbor, a loved one who we think could really benefit from this, how's the best way? Do they need to pre-register? How do we learn more about attending?
So in order to register, give us a call at 910-937-1479 to register and get more information about becoming a vendor or supporting the breastfeeding event.
All righty. Well, Aisha, is there anything that you would share, to be moms who are thinking, I understand that this is the best path for me. We want to make sure that pathway is easy for them and for their baby and for their newborn. What words of advice would you give them as we prepare to not just recognize World Breastfeeding Week, but the importance of this for a lifelong happy and healthy child?
Yes, from before you even plan to have a baby, just communicating with your family and your healthcare provider so you can make an informed decision about what resources are available, how you want to feed your baby. You can know what's available for you throughout the whole process of, planning to become pregnant, while you're pregnant, after you deliver, when you return to work, because those are all vital periods and there's someone there for you every step of the way. So that's what I would say. Just make sure you're communicating with your family and your healthcare provider.
Wonderful. Thank you for what you all do at the Health Department for our families. It is such a valuable resource and the difference that you make in their quality of life. And Aisha Ford, thank you as always. We look forward to visiting again.
Yes.
And best of luck with your special event.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is Jeremy Butler from Onslow County Vector Control. Jeremy, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Now, it has been a while since we've had a chance to visit, and in the recent past, you have just had a new job title bestowed upon you. Tell us your official new title.
Official title is Vector Control Director.
Well, excellent. Congratulations. That's
Thank
great
you.
news. Now, you have done this for many years, and I can't imagine anybody better to come and talk with us today. It is that time of year. It is summertime. We're all outside. We're enjoying ourselves. We're at picnics. And then we have some pesky visitors that just annoy us all, and that is mosquitoes. Jeremy, we had a conversation off camera about their value as pollinators, right? We always there are ancient legends and fairy tales, what is the value of a mosquito? But what outweighs that is certainly their threat as potential carriers of disease. Some people are allergic. We see little kiddos who have severe reactions. So, Jeremy, we're all coming to you for help. What can we do first at home? And then we're going to talk about what you all specifically do.
First thing you need to do is look around your house. We as citizens are our worst enemy. We have containers that can include buckets, kids' toys, tarps, flower pot trays, anything like that that can hold water that you don't really see, but it's there, and they can raise what we call an Asian tiger mosquito, which is a container mosquito and also a daytime biter.
A daytime biter. So when we're all around our fire pits at night with our marshmallows, that's not who's getting us. It's who we're out, in the daytime we're out, hanging out, playing.
Correct. And we spray at nighttime, so it's hard for us to actually control them without doing a house visit or you doing a house visit yourself and doing tip and toss.
So that is the most important thing. You talk about the need to kind of survey our own property, look around the house, and sometimes they're little things. They're little, kiddo toys or frisbees or, whatever might be laying around. And very little water is needed, I understand, for mosquitoes to lay their eggs.
Correct. A bottle cap size amount of water can raise hundreds of mosquitoes.
So just that bottle cap that I left out on my patio, and there it sits, and it pours down rain, and the water collects.
7 days you'll have mosquitoes.
7 days. So
7
that's
days.
the turnaround on a mosquito laying its eggs, and then the larva, and then they're brand new mosquitoes.
Correct.
Now, those little things that we can do, like you said, the tip and toss and walk around. This time of year, it rains every afternoon. It's a challenge, isn't it?
It is.
Now, what do you all do? I mean, your challenge is far greater than what we're managing in our yard. How do you all manage what you do? What is sort of your protocol? And then if people need additional help, how do they reach out?
If people just give us a call, We will go out there and we'll do a site visit ourselves, look around your house, just to make sure you're not missing something.
Oh, great, okay.
If there's a ditch or something that we can check and we can do larvicides, we can actually control a lot more doing larvicides than we can doing an actual truck spray.
Okay, okay.
If a spray is necessary, we will route a truck in the area as well.
Now, we think about like the truck spraying, and people say, I don't see them. Why don't we see you, Jeremy? What time of day are you all out there?
We usually leave the house around 8 o'clock in the evening and sometimes get home around midnight.
This is why we don't see you, Jeremy. You're out there in the middle of the night taking care of us.
We're sight unseen, and yeah.
And then, like you say, the larvicide, just treating low water area, low areas where water might accumulate, like ditches. You treat those that way.
Correct.
Now, the other thing that you all do a lot of, not so much this time of year, really more of, I guess, a winter, spring activity, is you all are in the deep woods, Pocosin-y, swampy areas of Onslow County, because what people sometimes don't realize, unless you really look closely at a map of Onslow County, is water is everywhere. And we sometimes are challenged because that water can get backed up. We can have downed trees, especially in the season that's upcoming. Tell us a little bit about what you do in terms of stream management and beaver management, again, to control that ponding of water.
What a lot of people don't know about Onslow County is we are very flat. So it doesn't take much for a pesky little beaver to come through there and block up your creek and cause major issues. You're talking about a lot of flooding, killing trees. A lot of managed pines will just rot away if it goes sight unseen and not taken care of. Just again, give us a call. We'll go out there, do a site survey of it, and we will put a trapper in there and we'll take care of it for you.
I think, again, the vast role that Onslow County plays in the quality of life for our citizens, like you said, is sometimes sight unseen. You all are out in the middle of the night, you're in the forest, and you're keeping the tiniest of things that can annoy us or perhaps even make us sick. You're taking care of those things.
We are.
You're keeping us safe, you're helping keep us safe and healthy, prevent flooding, and also prevent potential disease that might be spread by mosquitoes. If people want to know more about how to reach out to you for assistance at vector control, what's the best way for them to reach you all?
They can give us a call at 910-455-0181, and the ladies will take your information down and we will call you back.
All right, but the first thing you want us to do before we call is our own little survey of our own yard.
Correct.
All right, so get out there, survey, and then do a little tip and toss of all that water.
Absolutely.
Jeremy Butler, thank you. Thank you for coming and joining us, and thank you for all that you do.
I appreciate being here.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is a very new face to Onslow County, Jessica Gardner, our new Cooperative Extension Director. Jessica, welcome to Onslow County.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It is an absolute pleasure to be here.
Now, we always have to get a little bit of background information about our new friends, and you come to us from Havelock, but originally from Tennessee?
Yes, ma'am. So we moved here about a year ago. So I spent last year teaching at Havelock High School. Prior to that, I worked for University of Tennessee Extension. So coming from an extension background, really excited to get back involved with the Cooperative Extension Program.
Well, you have a wonderful team here, and I'm sure, because as we're doing this interview, you're officially in week 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Officially in week 2 of your job. So thank you for coming on and taking time out of your kind of orientation to join us. Summertime, it brings great memories to folks about Extension and what you all do. I mean, from, 4-H camp and sleepaway camp to just having our own gardens. And so we're going to hit on all of those things today, Jessica.
Perfect.
And got you a busy itinerary. And the first thing we want to talk about is 4-H, because you all have hit the ground running.
Absolutely. There's an awesome 4-H program here. There's so much to get involved in. So if you have kids, grandkids, there's always ways to get them involved. Just recently, we had our district activity day. So I think that was quite a few counties in the area, and we represented Onslow County really well. I think we had 19 kids, gold or silver, get to go to the state competition and represent us in public speaking. So yeah, some really great programs. All that information we can easily find online, much easier than me trying to tell you all the things, because I'll be honest, there's so much going on. I don't know everything yet.
Well, that's part of it, right? You get to learn about what 4-H looks like. While you come from an extension background, every county, every state has a little bit of a different twist to it.
Absolutely. Extension is serving the needs of the community, and every community is different. So they've really done a good job of filling some needs and stepping up where they need to. So it's a really great program.
Well, 4-H is awesome, and like I said, everything from camp to clover buds to your chicken and your calf programs. Awesome things. Yeah. Awesome.
I know. I will say they recently started a shooting sports team, which is going really well, getting kids involved and really learning the safety around archery and air rifles, that sort of thing. So a really neat program as well.
Awesome. 4-H. Then, of course, we've all put in our gardens.
Absolutely.
And it's time, and those green worms are going to get on our tomatoes, or we're worried about infestation of our flower beds. And you have got a top-notch team that if I have a bug, an insect, I guess I should be more formal. If I have an insect, I can box it up and bring it to you all, and you're going to help me.
Absolutely. We have some great horticulture agents. We also have some master gardener volunteers that we'll talk about later. But yeah, you can bring in a sample. We prefer if they're dead. We don't take live bugs.
Right.
But yeah, they'll send it. If we can't address it, we'll send it off, get it tested. Same for soil. Now people already have their gardens in the ground, but we still do a lot of soil testing, especially planting for fall crops or next year or home gardening. And right now, that's a free service. So it is time to plan and get that soil tested, so you know how to amend, you know how to really serve your soil well for next year setting up your garden.
Perfect. Now you talk about master gardeners and what a force they are. Talk about the Master Gardener program as a resource and how you can join the fun club that is Master Gardeners.
So our Extension Master Gardeners, they are trained volunteers. They're just an extra set of hands, ears, eyes. They do a ton of stuff working in our Discovery Gardens. That yesterday a few volunteers did a program for youth, so they taught all about the parts of the plant that we eat, and they were really impressive. So they manage the gardens, they do research-based education in our communities, they run the plant clinic. So similar to bugs, if you have a plant, house plant, tomato plant, shrub that just doesn't look right and you need some help, you can come to our plant clinic. They're staffed by master gardeners. They'll help diagnose the problem, get you situated. So if you are a plant enthusiast, we have an opportunity for you. They're starting a new master gardener volunteer training in August. So that is a pretty intensive program because we train you as a research-based educator in our community. So it is a few series of classes, and you have to do hours to be a trained volunteer, but then you get to go in our community and make a difference. So it's a really great program.
It is wonderful.
So our next cohort of volunteers are going to start training in August.
Okay.
So Emily Morrison is our horticulture agent. She's the one to talk to about that.
Very good. All right, so we've got Master Gardeners. And then, everybody has gotten, we saw this during the pandemic. People wanted chickens and rabbits, and they started adding livestock to their home garden setting. But that comes with its own share of concerns, especially in the heat like this.
Absolutely.
And so, Melissa Huffman and your folks have great advice for things that we can all do. Maybe we have horses, we have goats. My neighbor has 2 goats. I thought she had the funniest looking dogs I'd ever seen until I realized those aren't dogs. So the things that we need to remember in this heat that your livestock folks have provided some information as well.
Absolutely. So I'm going to read these because my background is not livestock, but Melissa is excellent, and she's at another program today, but she sent me 5 tips for keeping your livestock cool in hot weather. So just like you and I, we get hot, your dog gets hot. Number 1, we want to make sure they have access to clean, cool water. As temperatures increase, they get hot as well. So making sure they have water encourages them to drink water. It cools them down internally, just like it does for you and I. So a lot of people, if you have automatic waterers, we want to make sure we check them regularly, make sure they are working properly, and that they're easily accessible for all of our animals. Number two, we want to make sure they have access to shade or shelter, whether that's a tree, a lean-to, a barn, any structure that lets them escape that direct sunlight. They get sunburned just like us. So especially pink-skinned animals that are higher risk for getting sunburned. I know.
Hogs.
Yeah, so we want to provide shade for them so they can stay out of the sun. Try not to work animals in the middle of the day if possible. So if you have to work your animals, the heat of the day is not ideal. It adds extra stress to them. They can get heat stressed out just like we do. So cool mornings before the temperature gets too hot or late evenings are the best time to work the animals if we need to. Number four, we want to avoid hauling them if at all possible. So closed containers like trailers, especially in large groups, can be very deadly to animals in the heat of the summer. So cooler night temperatures, early morning if we have to transport them. And then lastly, we said we want to keep them in the shade. So if we do put them up in a barn, we want to make sure that there is plenty of airflow and ventilation. So it can get really hot and stuffy in there. Airflow is essential to provide some sort of cool breeze. Even installing misters or sprinklers could help with that process.
Okay. Well, great things to remember, because people do have, and you see more and more sort of small homestead areas where people do have a few goats or a few pigs or that little chicken coop. They need that run, they need that cool air. I love the idea of the misters.
Yeah.
Right? So what a great advice from Melissa and your team there at Livestock. Now, lastly, we want to talk about my garden has done beautifully.
Yeah.
That is a fib. But I have friends whose gardens have done beautifully. And, you can only eat so much squash or zucchini or tomatoes in a summer, and you really need to figure out ways to preserve it best. And so you all, again, have great words of wisdom for us.
Yeah, so home food preservation is one of the areas that we are very passionate about because it's really easy to do, but you want to do it safely. It can be really dangerous when we talk about foodborne illness, contaminants that can get in our things. So one thing that we do, we encourage every year, if you are going to can food, so I brought my pressure canner lid here just to show, because we say a lot of these things, and if you're not familiar, it can be a little overwhelming. So this is a pressure canner top, and this little thing right here, our dial gauge, needs to be checked every year. So that is a service that we offer here in the Extension office. It is a free service by appointment only, so you just call, say, hey, I've got a pressure canner, I need to get the dial gauge tested, because as these sit over time, they can break down and not read accurately. Okay. So if they're not reading accurately, it's not reaching the correct temperature, so our food might be a little unsafe. So especially if you buy these used, or you might have one that's passed down from you, it's recommended every year to get it tested, but definitely if it's new to you, go ahead and get it checked. Usually it's an easy fix, and instead of placing the whole pressure canner, if there was an issue, you can just replace this. It's a lot more cost effective. But again, so that's a service we offer when we talk about canning. I also wanted to share, because we have already had a lot of our canning classes, a really great resource if you are starting canning. Of course, you can always call our office and we'll answer any questions. But if it's 8 o'clock on a Saturday night and you're canning, we're not going to be there to answer the phone. So we get a lot of our information, again, all research-based, from the National Center for Home Food Preservation. So that's ran through University of Georgia's Cooperative Extension, but they share their resources with the nation because they are the leaders in this. Anyway, I say all that to say that there's an app, Preserve Smart. It's a cute little app with a picture of a tomato. Okay. Super easy to use, and I used to say that this app was going to put me out of a job because it has all the information. But if that's keeping people safe, then I'm all for it.
There you go.
But this app, you can go in and you can pick, if you're working with fruits or vegetables, you pick whatever you have. So if you have apples coming in and you don't know what to do with all your apples, it'll give you options. Do you want to can? Do you want to freeze? Do you want to make pie filling? You click on whatever idea you want to go for, and it gives you step-by-step instructions, makes it really easy, and it also links out to commonly asked questions. So that's a great place for people starting out, or even I use it. I've been canning for years, and I still use my app quite frequently when I'm trying something new.
Fantastic. What a great, again, this very traditional life way connected to modern technology. I love that. I love that connection there. Now, so we've talked about 4-H, we've talked about livestock healthfulness, soils, insect infestation. That is the beauty of cooperative extension, is that you all are providing us this research-based information to answer just about any question we have. Can you direct us? You all are on social media?
We're on Facebook and I believe Instagram. Okay. So that's a great way to just easy to follow us, see what classes will be coming up, really easy way. You can also call our office. So Extension, we say, which is a horrible saying, we say we're the best kept secret because not everybody knows what Extension does. So that's a great way. We have an awesome website. It's Onslow, NCSU. So it's a great landing pad. If you have questions like what do these people actually do, it tells you who does what, who to call. You can always call our office.
Yeah. Go to your website. It is a very terrific, extensive website. And just before you go, and I have to pick on you just a little bit. I understand UT is dear to your heart.
Absolutely.
But are you ready to be part of the wolf pack?
Absolutely. I've learned the pack
You've
thing.
learned? Excellent. Well, we are so glad you're here. We're so glad that you're part of our family here. And we look forward to many more visits.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is Kathleen Grasser, Librarian Public Services Director, Division Head. What's your official title, Kathleen?
Head of Public Services.
Head of Public Services, which is really an all-encompassing title, right?
of,
You're at the
yes.
front desk, you're helping plan programs, you're answering questions.
Because I unlock bathroom doors.
Unlock, you keep her the keys, lots of things.
Yeah.
But now you're going to do some special promotion for the library because you all have an awesome guest author coming. We want to talk about the author that's coming, sort of the works that she's well known for, and really such a stellar, I mean, her career has been tremendous. And then that she's going to bring this right here to Onslow County, bring that talent and share that with us. And then, of course, we'll close out talking about that this has been a summer fun of reading going on in general, as always at our public library. So first things first, who is this special guest author you are having join us?
We are very excited to have a well-loved North Carolinian coming. Her name is Christy Woodson Harvey.
Okay.
And she has all kinds of accolades. I mean, she's gone to school here, she's a journalism major, just countless amounts of things that she's got going on her plate. She has 9 novels.
Wow.
Her newest one is releasing in early July, and it's called The Summer of the Songbirds. So,
you know, she captures a lot of what we all get to see every day here in Eastern North Carolina, doesn't she?
Yeah, yes, she does. And so she is coming to our book club on July 25th from 1 to 3.
Now, the book club conversation, and you all have set books that you select. I know that the book club itself sort of works together to select oftentimes what they're going to read. What was the selection that they were working on when we got word that Ms. Harvey was coming?
So we had selected The Wedding Veil, which takes place over in the Asheville area.
Oh, beautiful.
So a very fun book. And I don't know how much we'll get to talk about that. I'm going to ask my ladies to submit some questions.
Okay.
But I think most of the talk will be about her newest book on friendship and the rescue of a well-loved long-term campground and these lifelong friends who met there. So, sounds
really
exciting.
Wonderful. Well, I think that, as you say, she captures these beautiful places that many of us have had a chance to see, or at least think about going to visit, because we're so fortunate here in North Carolina to have everything from the mountains to the sea.
True.
And that she is able to really capture these in these novels that she's written.
Yes.
But also, more importantly, she just sort of lives up the road, doesn't she?
She does, and that's. She was very excited that we invited her actually, and put us right on. We're the last stop on her book tour.
Okay.
So very exciting about, and we're going to even have some of her books available for purchase and signing, and hopefully she'll share how she created this book and maybe some other wonderful tips. I know one of her, I think it's called the Peachtree series, is actually going into production with NBC for a movie or a series. I'm not sure on that one, but very exciting to have this North Carolinian, New York best-selling author in our Jacksonville library. So
that is phenomenal. And again, the idea that she's coming here, but that this isn't too far from her home, and,
Right.
and her family and her spouse's family is just so much a part of our story here in Eastern North
Exactly.
Carolina as well.
I want to say she might live, I think she lives in Beulahville, so super close.
Or outside close to Kinston, I think, and then at the beach too.
Mm-hmm.
They have so really she covers Eastern North Carolina.
Yeah,
she covers
she
Eastern.
does.
So
I'm
let's think
excited.
about two. This has been a summer reading of fun for all ages, not just our book club for our adults, but also this is, summer reading in the library is just a tradition,
Synonymous.
right? And so this has been, I love the theme because the idea of all together now, when we weren't together for so long, and now here we are.
Yeah, back together.
All together now, back together. I always feel like I want to sing it, but then I have to pay royalties to the Beatles, so we won't sing. But this all together now celebration all summer long has kicked off last month.
June 1st,
and
yep.
going full throttle. And while we don't want to think about the end, you all always close the show out with a bang. Tell us what you've got going on.
Well, before I tell you that, let me give you some stats from June.
I have to hear them, yes.
All right, so mid-June, so I know we're a couple weeks out, but so this will be behind, but from pre-K to teens, 101,017 minutes read by our youngsters in Onslow County, and 648 books so far by adults. So, very exciting.
I love it.
Yeah, it
that
is.
Those, 2 weeks into the program, we realize this data is a little dated because we're filming out here, but just that snapshot.
It's huge.
It's fantastic.
It's huge.
It's fantastic. Whether we're sitting on the beach or under our favorite tree or in the air conditioning.
True.
Right? How phenomenal.
Yeah.
Those are great stats.
Yeah,
What
and
a great
we were very
start.
excited. We were very excited. But to get back to what you mentioned, Rockstar Magic, which is a Onslow County favorite.
Yes.
This duo is very dynamic, high energy, and they're going to close out our summer reading with 4 shows.
Okay.
So we're very excited to have them. Kids always love it, and they always deliver.
Well, right, and every branch, I mean, I realize we're in the library, but that is one loud show.
Well, yes, it can be.
But it is phenomenal. It is wonderful. The kids are so excited. They're, magic enthralls us all.
It does.
And so, how terrific. So, fantastic author. Phenomenal statistics about how much folks are reading in Onslow County. You've brought us all back together now.
We're excited.
Kathleen, it is always a joy. Tell folks best way to reach you all. Social media, website, telephone, all of the above.
Facebook probably. I mean, we post all of that. I do have the dates for the shows. if
Love
you
to hear
would
them.
like.
Tell
Okay,
us.
so there's 2 days, 4 performances. So July 26th, I'm going to read this so I make sure I get
Go
it right.
right ahead.
At 9:30 in the morning at Swansboro High School.
Okay.
Will be the Swansboro Library's closing magic show. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, in the Sneads Ferry Library. So theirs will be on site.
Yep.
Will be their magic show. The next day, July 27th at 9:30 in the morning, Richlands High School.
All right.
And at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, on site at Jacksonville Main Library.
All right.
So
Fantastic.
4 chances to see the show, or you could go to all 4.
You know how? Because maybe we'll figure out. No, we can't figure it out. It's magic.
They're pretty good about keeping their secrets.
It's magic. We'll never know. Kathleen, thank you for bringing the magic of books to us.
You're welcome.
And the magic of storytelling. It is always a pleasure to talk with you all about what you're doing, and I am excited about this author.
It's going to be a busy week.
As always, thank you, ma'am, and we'll see you this fall to find out what comes next.
All right.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today. And as we are celebrating our 23rd year of Onslow County Today, we're going to take a little bit of a different twist here, because we're going to be talking to some of our internal services, folks that the public don't always get to see. And we're starting with John Bazaret here with Onslow County Human Resources. John, we're so glad you're here. Tell us your official title with Human Resources.
I am the safety officer for the county.
Now, folks would think, oh, well, safety, right? That's planning and inspections. But you're inside the house.
Yes. So I make sure that our employees are safe, that we are adhering to all the OSHA standards, that we're adhering to all the environmental and health standards.
Now,
for the workplace.
One of the things that you do is you offer meetings and trainings monthly to our staff.
Yes.
And most recently, you offered a training on heat and working safely in that kind of environment. And today, when it's already in the 90s, what better advice could we get than to talk with you?
Yeah, a lot of people, and Lisa, we do, our safety committee gives what we call toolbox talks every month. And they're designed to raise awareness with our team members. And usually the toolbox talks not only work well for at work, but they work for at home and with our families as well. We typically do a heat-related toolbox talk in May because it gets hot here quicker than a lot of places. Typically, the National Safety Council and OSHA will have heat campaigns in June, but we start a little soon. We have a lot of departments who have employees who work outside a lot and are at risk for heat-related illnesses. Just the top of my head, Parks and Rec, planning, tax, soil and water conservation, cooperative extension, and I probably missed a few, but and the thing of it is what we want employees to be able to do is to recognize the signs of heat illness in themselves or their coworkers or at home with one of their family members.
All right. So the first thing we want to talk about then is we don't want to even get to recognizing it. We want to prevent it. So what do we need to first remember?
Hydration is your friend.
Okay.
If I know I'm going to, and you have to do a little planning and know what your day looks like. So if I'm going to be outside this morning and throughout the day doing a lot of things, I need to think about hydration before I leave the house.
Okay.
I love my morning coffee just like everybody else, but caffeinated beverages are one thing you should avoid if you are planning on spending a lot of time outside on a day like today.
Okay.
The problem becomes the heat that we have in combination with the humidity gives you what's known as, and you hear a lot of meteorologists say this, the feels like temperature.
Okay. So while we say it's 90, it feels like...
If you have 90% humidity, you could have triple-digit heat index. The problem with that is when those two numbers combined for your heat index, when that number is higher than your body temperature, your body loses the ability to effectively cool itself.
Okay. So being mindful of the real temperature and the feels like temperature and that heat index, and then making sure that we are thoroughly hydrated with appropriate, right? So water, how about sports drinks?
Sports drinks, we want to avoid things with lots of sugar.
Okay.
So you could use, I know there are some out on the market that are low sugar, but they have electrolytes and things that are really good for you. But we want to avoid anything that's caffeinated, anything that has a lot of sugar like a soda. And of course, we wouldn't do this at work, but at home, we may be tempted to have something with alcohol in it. We want to avoid that as well.
All right. So really, the truest form, water
is your best friend.
And if you're like those folks who are like, oh, water, there are those fruit additives. You
Yes.
can, natural, or put frozen fruit in your drink.
Yes, you can. Very easy to do. Last year I would cut up some lemons, some limes, oranges, whatever you like. Put some berries in and put that in your water to give it a little taste.
Jazz up the flavor just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
For folks who aren't just plain water folks.
Exactly.
Alrighty, so hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Yes.
And then what about that awareness? I'm out there, it snuck up on me. I didn't even realize it got that hot. I was busy. What am I looking for? What am I trying to be aware of?
Usually what will, in heat illnesses, progress. So you'll probably start off with some form of cramping, which is an indicator that your muscles are having a problem. You've lost your ability to cool yourself. That can translate into heat exhaustion if it continues. It could translate into heat stroke, which can be fatal if not recognized and treated.
Right. So, we're looking at things like you said, the cramping, but also first we're sweating and then we're not sweating.
Not sweating is a bad thing. That means your body has lost its ability to cool itself completely, which generally means you're on a very fast path to heat stroke.
All right. And then I've always heard if you're thirsty,
You've waited too late.
you waited too long.
Yeah. One of the things we have to plan for if we're going to be outside a lot and doing a lot of physical activities is take extra breaks.
Okay.
Hydrate, drink water at every break, even if you're not thirsty. You want to stay ahead of the curve.
Okay. And what about things like the cooling towels, the things, or
Those are great things.
Okay.
And you can get some of those that are inexpensive, but they have cooling towels, especially you can put around your neck. And they have cooling pads, different things, but those can really help. But you want to make sure you're taking a break out of the sun. Be in the shade, be in air conditioning if you can, but always in the shade. Use those cooling towels. You just get them wet and it activates them, and they're really good things. They last for quite a while.
But what if it does sneak up on us, John? What are the first steps we could take if our loved one's out mowing the grass and we're like, time to come in, and then you realize things maybe aren't quite right.
Yeah,
if we're on that verge.
Somebody with heat exhaustion could be disoriented, could feel lightheaded, or could actually faint. In either a heat exhaustion or a heat stroke situation, it's important to know the signs, and it's important to get 911 on the way.
All right. So we can immediately, monitor them,
Yes.
but also immediately call for emergency response.
Yes. Somebody exhibiting the signs of heat exhaustion or heat stroke, get them to a cool place. Get those, you can take towels, soak them with water, put on them. They want to, if they're wearing a lot of clothes, you want to take, like if I had on a shirt, maybe take that off of me. So we want to cool the body as quickly as we can to prevent it from progressing.
Very good. So prevention first.
Yes.
Be aware, monitor when and how we're outside.
Yes.
Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Yes.
Monitor how we're feeling.
Yes.
Lots of breaks.
Lots of breaks.
Drink even if
When you're not thirsty.
When I'm not thirsty, because that's too late. And then in the event of an emergency situation,
Call 911
call
and get
911.
EMS on the way.
Very good. John, the role of the safety officer is to keep our staff, make sure that they're in the most optimal, safe working conditions and that
Yes.
we're following the best practices. But how does that translate for our citizens? If we're safe, talk about how that helps us do our jobs better.
Well, if we're doing things safely, the citizens that are around us are safe, and we're all able to do and provide the services for them in a safe manner, and everybody's happy in that case.
Well, I am so grateful for your time and for your great advice and for what you do for the citizens of Onslow County, but for the employees of Onslow County as well.
Yes, ma'am.
As always, we want to thank you for joining us for Onslow County Today and our 23rd season. We also want to thank our very special guests, Emily Baker, Aisha Ford, Jeremy Butler, Jessica Gardner, Kathleen Grasser, and John Bazaret. You know, here in North Carolina, we are still celebrating the Year of the Trail, and not too far from where we are today is the Big Branch Bike Park, but it's also a great walking trail. And this is the perfect time of year to get out and explore your Onslow County today.